And thanks for coming in. Now, I've been told to say, before I say anything, may the fourth be with you. I was told to say that, so I've said it. It's, I'm not a Star Wars. Well, I did like the Star Wars film, but I'm not a major fan. Do you know what I mean? But I was warned you have to say it. So it said, may the fourth be with you. Done, out of the way. So tonight we are welcoming back after quite some time actually, Mr. Liam Shand from, I was going to say Inverness Paranormal. It's not. It's Highland Paranormal. He's fair Inverness. So, hi Facebook user. I don't know where I get that for. It happened to me one night. I forgot her guest name, even though it's on the screen. And I think Sarah was on with me, and I think she was nudging me, and I thought, you know that time your mind just goes blank, woof, and you're sitting there like a tree, and you're like, right, I never remembered the name. But Highland Paranormal from Inverness. That correct?
Yeah. Evening, Scott. Yeah, 100% correct. And it's great to be back. It has been ages.
It's been quite a while, isn't it? It's been,
I
don't know, maybe best part of a year, something like that.
I was actually thinking tonight what we've been doing since we last spoke, and there's been quite a lot, that's going on. So, I'm trying to make sure that I'm not going to repeat myself from what I was talking about last time.
It doesn't matter, bud. You can talk about anything on this show, It's after the 9 o'clock watershed. Mind when the 9 o'clock watershed came in.
Yeah.
That shows you how old I am. My dad told me about it, the 9 o'clock watershed. I know what it is, because most kids these days are up to 10, 11 o'clock at night. But anyway, but no, you can repeat yourself if you want. I'm going to get you to repeat yourself and now just tell us a wee bit about Highland Paranormal.
Yeah, so Highland Paranormal are based in Inverness. We are members of the Taps family, International Taps family, and we cover now the Highlands, Moray, and Aberdeenshire, really. And that's the kind of three areas that we sort of cover. We do private work. We also do events supporting businesses, charities, and community groups. We also do some ghost walks, talks. We've also done our first kind of well-being walk as well recently, and we've got another one in a month's time as well. So we're trying to keep busy and doing loads of different things at the moment, and very busy right now.
That's a good thing. I've spoke to a few people, about this. And no disrespect to other teams, but you get teams that they'll do something maybe once. I know people have got lives, work and stuff, but you'll get teams that maybe do something once every 2 months, and then they disappear again for another couple of months, and then you'll see them pop up on a quick investigation or something, and then they're away again, basically. But you are quite a busy team.
Especially we've done a lot of events. I mean, we never set out to be an events group. It wasn't something that was ever really planned, but it does get us into locations that probably otherwise we wouldn't get into. So there's a benefit for us as well. Evening, Laura. And it's been strange because since lockdown we were quiet, but even since lockdown we didn't get a lot of private work coming in, as before we did, and it just need to go really quiet. But come out the last couple of weeks, I think we've now got 5-6 private cases on the books at the moment. So we are extremely busy, but we've expanded the size of the team. We've doubled the size of the team basically as well. So that helps. And now that the weather is improving, we're going to get out and about a lot more as well. We actually had one planned for last Sunday, and it rained and it rained and it rained. So it was an outdoor one. So it was just like, it's not going to happen, unfortunately. But it's looking busy. The guys are on a private case next week, and then we're going up to Lade Hay Museum It's a croft, 200-year-old croft museum up in Caithness. So we're going to have to do 2 nights there for them. They, over the winter months, one of their barns was damaged in one of the storms, so they're trying to raise money to get that prepared. So we're going to have to support that cause. Looking forward to that. That's never been investigated before. So, and from what I can gather, there's not a lot of paranormal events take place up there. So there's a lot of people excited for us coming up, which is great.
It's kind of. It's a kind of. I mean, I used to drive trucks, and I used to do a North Run every year. I'm on fire the night, and every week. Once a year I was up north, but every Wednesday was my North Day, and I was always up like up way up Aberdeen, Elgin, and Inverness, and then over the bridge, away up to Wickham, what have you. And it was, I mean, the people down here are friendly, but I just felt the people up your end, they're a lot more close knit. The kind of job I was doing, I delivered to a lot of farms and private houses because that's where people worked out of. And everybody knew everybody. They say, where are you going now? I say, I'm going over to see Davy. And they're like, I know Davy. They tell him Robert was asking, that kind of thing. And it was quite a close knit, even though it's quite a big area. It was quite close knit, and it's good. There isn't really a lot of paranormal at that end. Team wise, I don't think.
There's a few groups, but yeah, there's not many. I think obviously the location wise, there's lots of locations, but again, there's still, I think, up here, especially in a lot of areas, a little bit of we might believe it, but we don't really want to encourage it or be associated with it, which is a shame because I think dark tourism for the Highlands would be big business. There's a few places have kind of bought into it, but in general, there's not so much now. I don't think the Highlands isn't quite as superstitious as it was, but it is it's always been a very superstitious place where people believe in a lot of different things, fairies, witches, and whatnot, and why not? But it does make it challenging at times.
And would you say the kind of how buddy Laura's in as well, and I think it's Lawrence. Lawrence Alba. It's up your end. There's history here. There's history everywhere, but up, like the Inverness or the Black Isle, what have you, it's just soaking with history. For one of it, it's totally steeped in it, and obviously you're on the doorstep of Culloden, one of the most famous locations in Scottish history. And you can imagine people kind of being still not in the dark ages, but just that kind of, they still rely on superstition. But do you think they're kind of becoming modernised now, for want of a better, I don't know the right word.
Yeah, I think I was talking to somebody the other week about this and saying that I think, unfortunately, now the older generations in these communities are obviously dying out. The young people are moving away for work. So you've got a lot of incomers coming in now to the area who don't know the traditions and the stories, and some of them are lost. And I'm trying to gather some of these stories up, and I do them in my walks and talks and things like that to try and keep them alive. And I'm discovering new ones all the time, which is really good. But yeah, I think in the last sort of 20 years or so, there has been a big kind of change. And I even think with regards to religion as well in the Highlands, spiritual churches, as I'm sure down with you, Scott's the same, are very popular, whereas actual your old style churches, many of them up here are now closing.
Spiritual, especially in Glasgow, there's everywhere in Glasgow. I used to go to quite a few different ones in Glasgow, and there's one in Kilmarnock where we live, but they're kind of are all over the place. But I think these new religions they're not taking over. I think people are curious, and as you say, the old style churches are kind of, young people aren't interested. They're wanting something different. They're wanting something new, and that's why they're kind of looking elsewhere. And it might sound stupid, but I think Facebook and TikTok has got some involvement in it, because as you say, Liam, a lot of the older community unfortunately are dying off, and it's the young ones. And to me, they're not really interested in history. They're more interested in Facebook or TikTok or whatever it is, rather than sit down and read a book or go exploring an old graveyard, castle, whatever. They'd rather be on Facebook or doing whatever they do. That's just my thoughts. It might sound totally stupid. I don't know.
No, I can see that point of view. I think as well, though. I think on the other side, actually, some people are seeing it as an escape route to get back to a bit of reality, almost in spiritualism and Wiccan and things like that. That they see it getting back to the earth, getting away from technology as such. So I think there is both sides. But yeah, you're certainly right. I mean, I don't think. I think technology has taken over, and all we can do is use technology to try and keep, people interested, keep the stories alive, and what we, and I've said, we post daily on Facebook, and it's not always paranormal, but we like to show that we're active. We like to show that that we're constantly on the go, and we appreciate the people who follow our page. So. I think that's important, to do that. Going back to what we're saying already about, some groups only investigate every couple of months and things like that. As you guys even much more than me, because you're doing chats every night. The work that's involved in the background to do that. You're also doing investigations, and it's not, as it's not just a case of you just don't turn up at a location. There's all that planning to be done beforehand, and then afterwards there's always the reviewing to be done. So there's a lot of stuff that goes on in the background that I suppose people don't see. And I think getting the right people around you is so important as well, from a group point of view. Having people there to support you and help you, and be happy to do the grant, the work that isn't maybe quite as flashy or as going out and doing the actual investigation. Everybody loves doing the investigation, but it's doing the other bits that's is the challenge.
Yeah, there's two comments up there. I'll come back to that, Liam. No, you're spot on with that. On the flip side, they use social media to find locations and set fire to. We get that a lot down here. Like old abandoned mansions, stuff like that. That were once beautiful. Obviously, they've been left to the elements. They're still good to go and visit, investigate, photograph, but you do get the select few that like to take a box of matches along with them, and will make a wee fire, and it's quite unfortunate. Sarah watching as well, but no, there is a lot. I've spoken about this before, and there is a lot that people don't see that goes on behind the scenes, And as you say, doing shows, it's not just a case of turning your computer on and saying hello. You need to. It's going to sound big-headed. We're quite fortunate in the aspect that I get people contacted because they want to come back on. Don't get me wrong. I still go hunting for guests, but I've always been quite lucky that way at finding normal people with no space cakes. Don't get me wrong. I've had one or two space cakes on, you think, what the hell, but that's life, innit? And but there is a lot goes into organising shows, finding guests, talking to guests for a couple of weeks leading up to their show. I mean, the show might only be an hour and a half, whatever. But you're talking to your guests for a couple of weeks before to get to know them. I'm a big believer in it's not just getting a guest and then the first time you ever talk to your guests is when they pop up 5 minutes before you do your show. I think, you know, you need to kind of break that ice first, so that when your guest does come into your studio, you feel like you've known them for ages because you've been chatting, and it helps the show go better. It's more kind of relaxed sort of thing. And again, Liam, as you say, with investigations, it's the stuff after it that can be the, you know, the TVs. That in case you were saying you watched the EVPs that we go again. Well, the first investigation we done there, we never done it as a live, so I think it was 3 cameras, and Laura was using her phone, so there were numerous clips to get through and then video to get through, and it took us maybe an entire week. And Sarah, Laura, and myself were in here, and we were losing the will to live. You know, it's like, you know,
yeah.
But you, it's not the kind of thing you can. Excuse me. It's no if you're watching a film, you can flick through it. You know, jump.
Yeah.
You know, because you can't jump through it in case you, because the bit that you jump might be the bit that there was something there. So you need to sit and listen to maybe 2 hours of video, 2 hours of listening to yourself talking. You know, and
I did 12 hours of video the other month. It was painful.
And I hate my voice. I seriously, I know a lot of people say it, that I detest my voice. I hate sitting listening to myself back because I always think I sound drunk.
No,
you know, I don't know what it is. I very, very rarely drink. I will make a point of saying that now. I should show I've got 7-Up, lemon and lime, or whatever the hell, 7-Up there, you see. But there's a couple of shows I've watched back, and I think I said, I sound hammered. You know, I sound as if I've been in the pub 5 minutes before it started the show, and I'm wellied, you know. But you do need a decent team. You do need a good team. And Sarah and I are very, very lucky that we've got that both here and in America as well. You do need people that aren't going to bitch and moan and, you know, I can't be annoyed doing that. No, I don't want to do that. I'd rather do this, because that's not how, you know, we've all got to do stuff that we don't like, you know. But if you're passionate about it, then you say, right, well, I'm not keen on doing this, but I'll do this wee bit because it helps us with something else.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's my take. I don't like doing talking. I don't like talking to the press, doing that kind of stuff neither. But I am passionate about the paranormal. I'm passionate about my group, so I do it. You know, because I know it's to benefit, you know, everybody. And as I said, yeah, we've got a really good bunch of guys in the team. We've expanded the team, brought in some other folk. But what we've done this time is we've brought folk in that we already known. So people that have maybe been on the fringes or just coming to our open meets and things like that for years, and given them the opportunity, because we know that they're dedicated, because they've been coming. They're always there. They're always willing to help out. You know, even if it's just going off and making teas and things like that. You know, and it's like, well, that's the, you know, the right kind of attitude. So we have got, as I said, we've got some really good guys, and it's great to have newbies in the team as well, to give the team, because it gives us a bit of a boost from the point of view, new ideas, and new approaches on doing things. So you know, we're always learning, always wanting to do new things. Yeah.
Exactly. You know, I mean, I know there's a lot of teams out there that they disrespect them, but they stick to the same thing, the same routine. You know, and works for them, fair enough. But I think you need to try different. You need to try different things, whether it's basic or high tech, whatever. You know, and if people, I've always said in your team that, you know, Sarah and I might be the founders. You know, and everybody refers to me as a gaffer, basically. But I think that was Laura that started that one off. I can't mind. But we're all equal. Do you know what I mean? And if somebody wants to try an idea, then fair enough. Try it. Might not work. Might. We're doing fine, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for asking. But you've got to be. You can't have it. To me, you can't have a team that says, right, I'm the boss. This is what we're going to do. I'm not interested in your ideas because I've got a bag full of them up here, and we're just going to stick to doing that.
Totally agree. Yeah, totally agree. I mean, I told the new guys when we brought them in, look, it's your team as well. Your ideas, your input, let's have it. Because it can't be a dictatorship. It doesn't work. You can't. I don't think you would keep a team together if you took that approach. I think you would struggle to get individuals who wouldn't want to hang around.
You would if I was a team and the guy says, right, I'm the boss who does that. I'd be like that. Do you know what, pal? You know where you can. If you bend do I'll show you where you can pick your team, and I'll see you later on. Basically, because it's even though it can be tedious and it can be tiring at times. We do it because we love doing it, and you don't want to take that enjoyment out of it.
No, totally agree. I've been in the past at the point where I haven't been enjoying it because of the politics that have been going on, rather than and it just devalues everything. We need to be back at a place where everything's really sound, and as I said, we've all got different skills. All strengths and weaknesses. We've all got strengths and weaknesses, and we play to each other's strengths.
We're good that way. We're lucky that Sarah's good with the tech side. That Laura, she's good with her writing, her research. So her husband Craig as well, and Jennifer's brilliant with audio, and Kimber, who we just took on, she's in Oregon for so she's she's on holiday now, so we get Kimber as well. But I'm the kind of eye candy of the team. It's the only time I can get to say that, and there's nobody in here to disagree with me. Do you know? I bring the handsomeness to the team.
Yeah.
People know that the handsomeness of PIH with that. Yeah. They know the guys are like team listening. They know I'm only winding them up, or am I? But that way, everything comes together.
Yeah,
it takes over, and people. It helps the team. It helps you get your team get out there because people know, people remember idiots, but people know when a team's genuine and when a team's run well. They can tell straight off the bat, just by the first 5-10 minutes impression, right? This is a team that know what they're doing and they're all fine. If you're the eye candy, then God help your other investigators. Riggers from Spig, we were on with him. We were out with him last Saturday.
Yeah.
And we're out with him this Saturday. Rigger thinks he's a bit of a man. His Mrs. Lindsay, she's the one with the iron fist, basically.
All right, okay. We're actually hoping to go out with those guys later in the year. So looking forward to it.
No, I wouldn't. No.
But yeah, I know what you mean about the whole, being you have to be kind of. I don't like using the word professional, but it is the word to use, I think, for the team. I mean, we did actually this week we were doing a private case, and the woman had contacted us. She contacted numerous sources before us. Nobody would come out to see her. Quite a few individuals and groups told her what was going on in their house and that she needed a priest. The house needed to be exorcised, or we can put you on telly. But nobody actually wanted to give her genuine help. So we actually made the point. Well, as far as I'm concerned, you've got to visit a location to know what's going on at that location. You can't tell what's going on at a location over the phone. We went out to that one, and it annoys me when other individuals and groups are behaving in that manner, and it's not the first time that we've come across it. And they had actually terrified this woman. This woman was terrified because of what they were telling her was going on in her house. It was. I've had ones in the past. We had one in the past where a medium came into a house and told the woman that she had a sea of souls running under her kitchen.
Right.
Again, terrified, but nonsense, So yeah, it's frustrating.
This is somebody's home. This is somebody's personal space they're happy with, whatever you want to call it. And they've got in contact with these people because they don't know what's going on, so they trust these people to tell them or give them an idea even what might be happening, and to get in and say, you get demons, you got souls under your kitchen floor, and these people take that on board, and you don't know what this person's background is, health-wise either. Mm-hmm. So if you're telling some 67-year-old woman you've got a demon in your house, you need a priest, that lady could have health conditions or anything that could, trigger anything off. And you just can't play with people's health, and and then you get these teams. I remember one story I heard a couple of years ago about a team. This couple had been reporting noises at night time in the house, and this team went in. I think they charged them £300 to £400 to go in, and they investigated, and they says, they're very active here, we have to come back, we need to sort this. But for some reason they got another team in, and the other team says, look, we're not going to charge, we don't want any money, we'll come in, have a look. Turned out it was their central heating pipes. When the timer was turning the heating off at night, the pipes were cooling down and they were making a noise. And the guy said, it's your pipes that's doing it. And this other team had ripped them off. It's demonic and, all the rest of it. To me, it's a good way to make money. If you get these dodgy teams that do house investigations, as soon as they mention the word demon, bang, that's him in. And it's just destroy. If you're going to do something, don't charge for it. Maybe take a cup of coffee. If a lady says how much she's wanting for it, I don't want anything for it. You make me a cup of coffee, you've got a deal. That's it. End of story.
That's all we ever ask for. We never charge. Well, as part of TAPS, we couldn't charge anyway, but we never have charged and never would dream of charging people to go into their house, into their homes, and investigate. It's a free service that we provide, and we always warn people never to pay. By all means, go elsewhere, but for goodness sake, do not pay to get somebody to investigate your house or remotely investigate your house, even. Because it's wrong. It's fundamentally wrong as far as I'm concerned. And I do know that there is, people who are offering services to clear houses and things like that, and they charge to do that. And again, it's like, it just doesn't sit very well with me at all. It never has. I think it's a privilege to be able to talk to spirit and do what we do. And so I've never enjoyed, never thought, even entertained taking money off of people. I've refused money in the past when folk have offered to pay us. So yeah, 100% that.
The house clearing thing, Rigger will know who I'm talking. Our team in Rigger will know who I'm talking about. But there was a team, shall we say, and we know them, and hadn't been doing it all that long on their own. They started up their own team, and you're talking maybe a couple of months, and they posted they were doing the house clearance. And I always remember thinking, you know, what qualifies you? You don't know what you're doing. What qualifies you to get into somebody's house and say that their house is now? You remember the wee woman with a poltergeist?
Yeah.
Remember that this house is now clean.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and I mean, the two of these people in this team are, you know, a couple of cabbages basically, and he's like, well, the only house clearance you could do is with a transit van. Basically, that's the only house clearance used. And they still well, we did a house clearance the other week, and we got rid of the spirit and blah blah blah. Who gives you the right to do that? But you don't want to do a show and name and shame and stuff, you know, because that's going to do a whole different road. But it really gets you really angry. You think, who qualifies you to do this? Who told you you can do this? You're a couple of, do you know what I mean? And which, like I said, always said, once you're down that road, it becomes money first, the paranormal second. Aye.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
Aye. Aye, Facebook user. Because there are people out there that will just rip people off just for money or followers or views or whatever. They don't care.
Yeah. You know? Yeah, it's sad. It's I've watched a few of the, you know, Facebook lives with teams and things like that, and it's so focused on, you know, can we get, I think on Facebook it's stars or coins or whatever, you know, and it's like, and the content, there's no real content, you know, that's the other thing, that, you know, walking around a graveyard after dark or something like that, you know. But some people are doing this for a living.
I seen a post the other day. No, it was a couple of weeks ago, and it was an individual, shall we say, and they were asking for donations for a REM pod and bus fare to Manchester. And I mean, we've never asked for donations. We do have a PayPal, but we never use it. You know, we never advertise it. It's been there since day one. But we would never. I've always said that if you can't afford to do it, then don't do it. You know, if you can't afford to buy a new REM pod, then don't buy it. Leave it till you can. Don't go on your page and say, look, people going to give me money for a REM pod and a CityLink ticket to Manchester. Do you know what I mean? I sat and read that post with disbelief, and I thought, we would never ever do that.
Yeah.
And there's Lindsay from Highland Paranormal. Odd donations to walk around Edinburgh. Aye, that's another team. It's everywhere, Liam, is right. I don't know what, you know, I know and stuff had a big effect on people, but seriously, I mean, I could do a show full of ranting. There's another team they're charging people to walk around Edinburgh. They're not doing an event or anything. It's not a tour. They're taking them there, dumping them, and picking them back up at 5 or something later on.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I mean, we've talked about how we fund the group, you know, and we've always maintained that, well, private work would always be free, charity work will always be free, community group work will always be free. However, if we're being asked by a business to do an event for them, we now think we're going to go, well, actually, if we've got to travel, you know, an hour and a half to get to you, we might need to start thinking about, you know, some travel costs.
Aye.
That would be the only. It would only be businesses, and you know, that would be it. I mean, when we look at, if I go on about the one we're going to do in a couple of weeks' time, we reckon that's going to cost us as a group probably around £600 to do. We were lucky; we actually got a donation from someone who we'd done an event for, and who will never allow us to do an event for nothing. And it is a business, and so they actually paid a large percentage of our accommodation for the 2 nights, which was really, really helpful. But yeah, it's a challenge. But yeah, you can't I mean, that's just taking the mickey, isn't it? I mean, can I get a bus fare and you know, if you can't do it, you don't do it. It is as simple as that. And you know, we don't do many that are of a great distance away. We've obviously got a couple of our guys are kind of Aberdeenshire way and whatnot, so it's a bit of a trek for them to get up north. But you know, for ourselves, it's not too bad. You know, but as I said, that's kind of where we looked at it. But no, from a money, it doesn't feel right. It never has. You know, as I said, it's. I think, you know, we're saying there, as soon as you get into money, you have to deliver something, and as soon as you have to deliver something, you have to start with the fakery and the pampering, and that's not us. One of the things we get criticised for is the fact that we go in and we debunk so much. You know, at times some people get really upset with us because we really do burst their bubble. But you know, we have to be honest, respectful but honest.
See, but that's the way. That's the way it should be. You know, we had a guy at the door today with internet and stuff, and the subject of the group and that came up, and he actually says he's trying to get into TV and that. I says, no, mate, we're not interested in that, because that when you go that line into TV, then you have to deliver, you know, because the network or whatever is expecting results. So and that's when you start having to fake stuff and, you know, all that kind of stuff. But the debunking, I think more debunking needs to be done, because you got all these ghost shows, you know, no disrespect to them. I watch some of them as well, but as soon as they start investing, something happens. So a lot of people out there, the public, believe this is how the paranormal is. I think there should be a show that shows people nothing.
Yeah.
You know, just investigations where they get no evidence, no cat balls, no nothing. Just say, well, this is the other side of the this is what the paranormal is about. You know, and debunking. You need to debunk stuff. You can't. There's too many out there that go in. That's paranormal. That's paranormal. That was an apparition. Did you hear that? That wasn't a fart. That was paranormal. You know, stuff like that. No, that was my dog fart. No, it wasn't. It wasn't a dog fart. I heard it as well. We all heard it. And there's not enough. Everybody, because it gives people a false sense of what the paranormal's about.
Yeah, oh, definitely. I mean, I tell people on events. I mean, we tell, like, when we start an event, we can't promise anything tonight. It'll see how it goes. But I tell them on events as well, I get excited if I go into a room. If I've been in a room and we've got something, K2, Dowsing Road, whatever's working on an event, you then go into the next room and nothing happens. I find that as exciting as well, because for me, it validates that probably what we got in the other room was more likely to be paranormal than, you know, if we go into every single room and the K2 meter's going off and the spinning or whatever, you know. So yeah, definitely. I mean, we did have one client who was so cross with us for basically saying no, he didn't have an attachment or any spirits in his house, that he wanted to report us to TAPS. He said, you're not doing your job properly, and I'm going to report you to TAPS. So we said, well, go on then. You know, and it was crazy. It was the old orbs thing. You know, it was the old, I've got my phone with my torch on and I'm filming and I'm getting all these orbs. And, you know, it's just me.
I think in that kind of scenario, I would need to say to them, I've got a couple of rigorous comments up to come up, but I would need to say, right, you know, that's fair enough. What I'm telling you is, according to our investigation, we've found nothing, but obviously you get your own opinion, your own, respect that, but you asked us to come in, we did, we found nothing, so carry on, go and report us, you know. But we were annoyed because there was nothing there.
Yeah. Thankfully, though, majority of people, that's not the reaction. The majority of that call us in to do something, they are delighted if we can debunk or give them answers one way or another as to what's going on. So, thankfully, there's been just a few that have been like that.
A lot of the time, people, before I say anything, I'll put just comments up. Patience is a key in paranormal. It's not always Hollywood stuff. Exactly. It definitely makes it more interesting. But
yeah, I think it validates it a lot bit more. Yeah.
Truth that place we were in Saturday night, we'd already been there about a month prior, but we'd been talking to them for a few weeks before. All different things going on. I'm not going to say it's a private location, plus we've got a lot more investigations to come. But a lot of the staff had been reporting various things and some of the same things. And so they asked us to come in and just fight, basically, but they say, we want answers, And but we did say to them, look, we will state that we might not find anything at all. We could do 10 investigations here, but we might not get anything. We're just letting you know that now. And they say, no, that's, we accept that. That's fair enough. We just want you to come in, do your stuff and see what happens. And luckily enough, the first investigation was hyperactive. It was we were really surprised. The second, and this goes back to your point about two different rooms. The second one we spoke there, I think it was Rigger that put them off actually because he was there. I think they took one look and says, I'm off. You know what I mean? The second, we did get bits and pieces as you've seen. It just wasn't as active. So, you need that calm and that storm sort of thing to balance it out, because not every room you get in is going to have something in it.
No.
No. It just does, regardless of what people, it just does not happen.
Yeah.
And it's important to show that. But as you were saying about excitement, I still get a buzz, even if you're sitting, like, say, in a graveyard for 2 hours and you get nothing. It's just sitting there not knowing, if that makes sense, what's going to happen. It's just like fishing, as we said many a time. You just don't know what's going to happen the next minute or two, or the next minute or two. And it's still a good night.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people think that you need to go and get chairs flying across the ceiling, the room and everything, to have a good... You don't. We've gone on a few investigations and get diddly, not even so much as a flash of a cat ball. And, we've had a bit of a laugh and a joke. We've been home. And you see, it was a wee bit this, it was a bit flat the night, but it was still a good night.
Yeah.
But you've been out doing what you're doing, what you love doing.
Yeah.
And you're not home with a bag full of evidence. So what? You're still, doing your passion, basically. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 100%. You've got, as we keep saying, we've got good teams. So being with these people, it's as well. It's sometimes, as you say, you don't get anything, but you still have an enjoyable time. It's still interesting. It's still challenging. So yeah, it's totally get it.
You're still learning as well.
Always.
These people that turn around and say, we had a guy contacted us, I think it was beginning of this year or something. He wanted to come on and he says, I run a network of experts. And I bagged him. That was it. That was good enough for me. He was gone. He was in the wheelie bin in a way. You know what I mean? As we said, a network of experts are that. Do you know what? You're a cabbage. You go eat cereal. I'm not going to entertain you, son. you know.
Yeah, well, I think the reason we first connected was because the Sun wrote an article calling me an expert, which Lindsay keeps calling me, and other members of the team as well have this delight in saying, "But you're an expert, Liam," and I hate it. I'm like you. I hate that word. There is no such thing as a paranormal expert.
Yeah, which is Riker's good with the content. It's always been, and with other teams, builds trust and stronger bond within the teams and with others, even if you don't get much communication. Laughy face. I take it that much because I see it was regular put them off. But I mean, it's the word that there's a channel out there and they claim to be specialists and you know what I mean, and it's just so, and some of the stuff that came out with is just unbelievable. But you can have more experience in somebody.
Yeah.
You can be a more experienced investigator. Doesn't mean say you're a better investigator. You've just done more investigators. No, it's because you're a sad cabbage. It's because you said cabbage. All right, okay.
I'm going to be using cabbage all the time now. I'm going to get into trouble at work because I'm going to call somebody a cabbage. I'm quite sure that.
Shut up, you cabbage.
No, but I know what you mean, and I think it goes back. Rigger's saying it as well. It's with people's strengths and weaknesses, and every investigation lets you tap into that. You're learning constantly, learning off others. And I'm constantly learning off other team members as well, and the approach that they take. So yeah, it's always every day's a school day, isn't it? Really.
And it doesn't need to be anything big. I mean, I think it was David who spoke that we always use cat balls, and I can't mind the context of the conversation. We were talking about cat balls, and I was saying about keeping it in the one place. And David, I'm sure it was David, says, put a glass over it. Oh, aye. True enough. And this was maybe last year, so it's not if we just started out or something. But, it's put a glass over it. Put a glass over it keeps it from going anywhere. So it can be something as trivial as that, but you're still, I mean, people might say, cabbage, didn't think of doing that, but, it can be something as trivial as that you're still learning. It's the wee bits, wee tricks of the trade, whatever you want to call them. It doesn't matter in experience. It all comes down to spirit wants to communicate. They will. Yes, it was David. We've had some good stuff with such a simple experiment. Rigger makes a good point. And I've said it's down to spirit. Whether they want to talk to you. You can have all the equipment in the world. You can have thousands of pounds sitting there, lights, you name it, and you can have a spirit sitting on a bench beside you. But if you just want to say hello, you're getting nothing that night.
Yeah, no, totally agree. I think the last time we were on, we were talking about building up this trust. And I know it's a thing that, in our group, Lindsay and you've spoken quite a bit about building up that trust with spirits. So like you guys returning to the same location time and time again and asking questions, do you remember us, and getting a yes answer and things like that. And so over time the activity builds and builds and builds because they get used to you. On the flip side of that, you can also get to the point where I think you can kind of hack them off a bit. And they're like enough's enough. I'm not here as some kind of plaything for you guys. Interesting. We've come across one recently that we think we're now maybe just spent too much time focusing on, too much time trying to communicate with, and the last time we did, we believe he actually affected somebody, and they actually struggled to breathe. And although they actually had the symptoms, we found out afterwards that this individual had died of lung cancer. Right. And it was the kind of symptoms that the person was displaying. So we kind of said after that, I think we need to back off this character a bit and just, leave him at peace for a bit. And yeah, we'll check in on him from time to time, but I think we need to stop trying to, push him to come forward and all that all the time.
I know, I can get that. I mean, it's just like, in this life, if people keep coming back and back, you say, I cannot be annoyed. Here they come again. I can't be annoyed with them.
But you get other ones that love it as well, as you'll know. I mean, we've got a character that we call Bert in Durn House in Port Soy. He's basically...
That brings back, that's what my mum and dad used to take us every year caravanning to Port Soy. I don't know if the wee caravan part's still there or not. Right down at the beach. And the bakers, just on your way out, the butchers, they sell the steak pies. Best steak pie in Scotland. It's the last shop on the left as you're coming out of Port Soy, heading in the Elgin direction. Sorry,
I'll need to check that out. No, I'll need to check that out. I normally when we go to Port Soy, it's straight into Durn House, and then it's by the time it's time to get home, so it's straight out.
I'll tell you, well, you'll be coming for the Inverness end, so it'll be on the right hand side.
Yeah.
So you hit Port Soy, wouldn't it? There's a wee shop.
Yeah.
You're in there and see the steak pies. When I done the North Run, I used to stop there and steak pies every week. And I used to buy a hot one and one that was cold. And but they were amazing. You need to go. You're just along the road. Well, maybe I know.
I'll need to check out the next. I know we're back there in October, so if I'm not back before then, I'll go back then. But yeah, Bert was basically a servant in the house, but he was also a servant to the gentleman of the house. So the gentleman of the house went to fight for Bonnie Prince Charlie in 45. So Robert, we know, was there, helped him escape afterwards from the Redcoats when they came to the house looking for him. But Bert likes young redheads, redheaded ladies. That's what Bert likes. So when we do the events there, if there's a young redheaded lady there, you're guaranteed that Bert will make his appearance with regards to, he'll communicate via the dowsing rods. You can ask him whatever you want, but it has to be a young redhead. Just he's not interested in any other person. I've seen the rods being handed over to somebody else and it just stops straight away. Or I haven't seen Bert all night. We split into two groups. Like Lynn will go, have you had Bert tonight? No, she says no, because I've had him all night because I've got a redhead in my group.
That's the thing. You know, obviously the Passover were exactly the same as the one here, except the body. If you were a ladies' man here, then you'll still like the lady. I mean, we've had investigations where the spirit doesn't want to talk to a man, they want to talk to a woman. Mm-hmm. And some of the lassies have found that weird, and I've said to them, well, maybe he was a bit of a ladies' man when he was here. So he'll still be the same. He'll still like the ladies out, you know, when we pass over. Yeah. As Bert says, as you say, Bert likes the redheads.
Yeah, he's got his choice. It's we've had other ones where actually we've had what we believe to be female spirits that have actually, I don't like to use the word, not attacked us, but you know, they've gone after the males and they've made the males feel unwell. I've had it on a couple of occasions at a couple of locations where the mediums told me, yeah, it's a female. You know, and in one location we were doing an event and four of us, there was like 7 women and 4 men, and all 4 males had to leave the building. We basically had pounding headaches and, you know, nausea, and we actually had to leave the building for 10 minutes. Whereas the women were fine, weren't affected at all.
We've been lucky that way, that we've not really been majorly affected. I've had, you know, I felt people standing beside me, my knee touched in the vaults, my sleeve got tugged twice at Loudon. Laura, Sarah was scratched at Greyfriars, which wasn't anything major. Laura's she'd her bum felt one night when she was sitting in the seat and something squeezed her bum. as you kind of jumped up with a whoo, you know, sort of thing. I sat in the seat for about 3 hours after that. Nothing happened to me.
Right.
I was, even after they all went home, I was still sitting with myself in the seat. Come on.
I will say female investigators do have all reported being inappropriately touched at some point. In one instance, I think in one location, two different investigators on different nights basically had the same thing happen to them, but females. So it goes back to what you're saying, you know, it's whatever people were like in life, they remain like in the afterlife as a person. Yeah, I totally get that.
Exactly, you know, it's the same as I've got a comic pop with cat balls. I've set it up in a wee saying, but it's the same as this, you know, the demonic thing. Your views on it, but people say, "Oh, it's demonic." It's no, you know, we've all met people in life that aren't just people. They want to be left alone. You know, I think, well, I know I have. We've all known a grumpy old neighbour down the road or something like that. You know, at one point or another. And who's to say that, you know, you got an investigation and you get a spirit that's no too friendly, maybe just wasn't a people person.
Yeah, I'm 100%. I think demons is a belief. It's your beliefs, and you know, that's not my belief. I've always said, like you said, that you get evil spirits because you have evil people. I always use Adolf Hitler as an example.
Right.
If Adolf Hitler's back, you know, haunting somewhere, he's not going to suddenly be a nice guy. He's not going to suddenly be, yeah, please forgive me and all things light. I don't think so. Yeah, you're going to get that. You're going to get, you know, other spirits that are maybe just at certain times are annoyed by what's going on in a location as well. You know, like I talked about earlier. We had another one, and I know it's a common thing when buildings are being renovated, for instance, that paranormal activity can increase. And we did a private case, which actually was like a TV show, because we ended up running all over the house because we were trying to catch whatever was in there, and it always seemed to be either above us or making a noise elsewhere. One investigator actually heard a growl in the rear. We actually, that night actually ended with the medium actually, basically his face changed. We had to back him off. We had to call his protection forward, and then everybody saw white aura around him. They all took photographs with their various devices, and it didn't show on any of them, but everybody in the room saw it. So yeah,
it didn't show on camera, but no, you're right. You know, I mean, you get maybe some elderly gentleman that lived in a house for 40 years, 50 years, you know, all his life, and he passes away. And that's when that house is still his, and you come in and you knock a kitchen wall out or a living room wall, whatever. You're like, what the hell are you doing to my house?
Yeah.
My house. And so he is going to be annoyed, angry, and let's face it, there's only so many ways that spirit, they can't exactly chat with and say, right, I'm not happy you're not doing that kitchen wall. So they need to find another way of communicating or getting their frustration out, you know. And maybe that's just the way to do it. Facebook user up isn't proven that cat ball can be manipulated. This is a thing that's been going on for a few weeks. I like your opinion on it. I'm glad they asked that question. I like your opinion on the cat balls, Liam.
Yeah, I think we started using cat balls last year. We were a bit late to the cat balls, but I've watched some of the debunking videos and things like that. I can't fathom out how you could have two cat balls sitting next to you, and if there was vibrations in the room, one would go off and not the other. So no, I mean, there's times where yes, it's obvious somebody's knocked something or whatever, but we've got cat balls to go off on command at times. I kind of laugh now because they're so cheap, yet they're so effective. We were lucky enough to do Inverary Jail last October for charity, and BBC Alba came along with us, and they filmed the entire night for a like 2-minute segment on their news show. But they'd actually earlier in the evening they'd caught, I think it was a hiss or a growl. It wasn't my group; it was the other group that caught it, and it was the only point in the night where their camera malfunctioned. So they were absolutely gutted because they never got it. They heard it, you know, they were listening to it and they heard it, but they never got it. But at the end of the night, we were all in the courtroom, and we'd had some quite good hits in the K2, and then it had gone really quiet, and I was basically just summing up the night and saying, right, this is your last chance to communicate. Lynn had put cat balls in various locations around the court. None of them had gone off in this 15, 20-minute session we'd been in there. And I basically said, this is your last chance to make your presence known to us. And the cat ball on the dock went off.
Aye.
And it was just like, that was caught on camera. And for me, that was like, right, guys, tonight's been worth it. You've got something really good there. So yeah, I think possibly, I don't think vibration will undoubtedly set them off, you know, but I think they're when you're getting them going off on command, basically, that's a different story. You know, yeah, and we're all sensible enough to know if one keeps going off, there's probably something, you know, natural going on that's causing it, and you just move it. You try and move it. You move it somewhere else and try it again and see if it does the same. But yeah, I think they're a decent enough tool to use. I know there's a lot. It comes back to this as well, Scott. There's a lot of snobbery in the paranormal community about certain pieces of equipment. People just basically, oh no, it's no use, and they slam the door on it. And okay, there's certain things SLS cameras, for instance, and things like that, I'm not a fan of. But you know, I think you know, you've got to try these things for yourself and see whether or not, you know, it works for you. And it is very easy to put cat balls. You know, they're cheap. You know, they will go off, you know, easily in theory. But you know, as I said, when you're getting them going off on command, that's a different story for me.
No, 200%. I totally agree with that. I mean, an example of going off with vibration is, you know, we've gone in camera the investigation on Saturday night. I put a cat ball on top of a unit and I put the K2 down beside it, and the cat ball went off. So I lifted the K2 up and I put it back down, and the cat ball went off. So it was quite clearly it was me putting it on the, you know, putting the K2 down that caused it. So that was fine. I dare say there is ways that it can be manipulated, the same as every other bit of stuff that we use, but it's when it goes on command.
Yeah.
You can't manipulate that. You know, it's happened to us. We've used cat balls since practically day one. And so many times we've done it. With one instance we were in Loudon and the K2 at one side of Headstone and the cat ball on the other. And I says, if your name's Ian, because we think we know who one of the gentlemen is. So if your name's Ian, step away from the box, which is what I call the K2. So step away from the box and touch the ball for me. And we've done it on a live, so it is on the page somewhere. Immediately the box went dead and the cat ball lit up. You know, we've had it in that location that we were at the weekend on our first investigation. We had a cat ball sitting beside it. It's not a haunted doll. It's Gabby out of Toy Story. We take a boot in case we think we've got any kid spirits, you know. And we sat her down with a cat ball at her feet, and we says we think there's a lady with her daughters here. Says if one of your daughters likes to play with the doll, then touch the ball, and immediately the ball went off. Then nobody was near it, and this was late at night. There was nobody else in the building, nothing, no vibration, nothing, and that ball went off. It's, as you say, it's instances like that. Then you say, well, show me, you know, debunk that.
Yeah, exactly. And I actually think cat balls are harder to manipulate.
I've thrown,
than a lot of other devices that you could. We all know what Wi-Fi and K2 meters, for instance. That's an easy one to do. And I'm told other tricks like a REM pods, walkie-talkies can interfere with REM pods and things like that. Interesting enough, I've had a REM pod now for I don't know how long I've had it, and I wanted to put it back because it never goes off. And we were doing an event the other week, and all of a sudden I hear this noise, and behind me for like 10 seconds, and I'm like, what's that? I have no idea what it is until somebody else picks up. That's your REM pod just gone off. So my REM pod's now gone off once, but I had my back turned to it, so I never actually saw it go off.
It's Charlie makes our REM pods. Charlie Knox Paranormal. He makes our REM pods for us, and Saturday night, you see, we decided to do it. We asked the owners if we could do it as a live. Obviously, we never revealed the location. And just before we'd even started, Drigg will tell you, it is on the page. We had REM pods on the floor and on a table, and they were going back and forward. They were going after. Our REM pods, you need to be about 6 inches or something,
right,
before it'll go off. And you clearly see on camera that none of us were anywhere near them, and they kept going off. Now I know people can say, "Oh, it's a faulty REM pod." Aye, possibly, but it's when you swap them round and they keep doing the same thing. And so Saturday night we thought it could be a kid going back and forward.
Yeah.
Because, it was like a game of tennis, but then it stopped, and activity died. Same as the K2s. Yep, they can be manipulated, and there's a lot interferes with them. I always go on the basis, I don't know you, Liam, I always go on the basis, if a K2 is sitting dormant, right, for 15, 20 minutes, then you ask a question and you say, can you make that go to yellow? And it goes to yellow and then back down.
Yeah.
I think that is a response.
Yeah. I mean, it's all about that intelligent response. That's what we're looking for, isn't it? That validates. If you're getting intelligent response, that validates it definitely. And pretty much within 5 minutes, if not even 5 minutes, if there's Wi-Fi, you're going to know. Then you're going to know. I mean, I've actually got a little box now that's a Wi-Fi detector, so I can go around a building and actually look for Wi-Fi spots, in advance of doing an investigation. So we're going to go, right, okay, yeah, meters are probably going to go off there.
You've actually gave me an idea, because Saturday night we done the investigation, we were doing in the basement, and it's separate rooms, and Sarah, Ella, and myself were in one of the rooms, and we seem to be getting intelligent responses on the K2. I wasn't sure of the wiring situation, so we're still to speak to the owners to show us everything was switched off.
Right.
So I was thinking, well, everything's switched off, so what's causing that K2 to go? And so I said, I'm going to speak to the owners to see where the wires are in the wall. But they've got Wi-Fi in there. I forgot they had Wi-Fi, so it could have been the Wi-Fi.
Maybe the Wi-Fi calling, yeah. Yeah, it's a pain. Wi-Fi is such a pain when you're investigating a building. It really is. And it's not always easy to get it switched off. But as long as you're aware of it, that's all you can do. And I think I did actually see an EMF meter on the market now that actually detects Wi-Fi as well. It tells you. It actually comes up and says it's a Wi-Fi signal. I'm
glad you said that. And we're coming out. We were talking about the Wi-Fi on Saturday, because we were talking about. That's what it was. We knew up the stairs we get a signal to do the live. We weren't sure about downstairs, and as one of the girls said, well, there's Wi-Fi in here anyway, so you'll be fine. So I'm going to need to find out, but I'm going to need to ask about that, because I totally didn't think the Wi-Fi could have set the meter off.
Yeah, it normally comes out at a regular interval, so you can kind of almost time it. If it's, if all your phones are off and or in airplane mode and whatnot, it's just the Wi-Fi in the building, you can normally, almost set your watch to it and go, right, okay, it polls every so often. So
Because
yeah, definitely worth checking. But I mean, we did Clava Cairns back in October. We had a guy I might know, Mark Wallbank from Haunted Auckland Paranormal New Zealand over. And Mark wanted to go somewhere to do an investigation. He did a talk at an open meet for us. So we took him out to Clava, which is like a Neolithic burial site. It wasn't a full moon, but there was a moon. I've been to Clava quite a few times and never got much activity, but oh boy, did we get activity that night. We were getting K2 meters, EMF meters going off. There's no electrical, as I said, no pylons, no nothing. We were getting flashing lights. Mark had somebody say hello to him. He saw somebody walking up the other side. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. We were the only people there. Other members of the group were hearing people walking around us. It was absolutely superb, absolutely fascinating. And it's the first time I've it'll be Lindsay saying amazing night. She was there. It was brilliant. It was the moon. I've made such a difference, I think. And yeah, I had a chart on one of the chambers with using the rods. So we use dowsing rods quite a bit now. We've actually got a theory that older spirits are probably happier communicating through dowsing rods than they are through the modern gadgets, that they might actually be quite scared of the modern gadgets. So we use the rods quite a bit as well. So I had a conversation with what we believe was a woman who was actually murdered there, but way back in like 1715 or something like that. And it's one of these things that the next morning I kind of woke up and thought, I never asked her if she was a witch, because we couldn't work out why she'd been murdered, but it would have made possibly sense.
It made sense, especially during that time period. Then it was just a really amazing night. It is on YouTube. Mark posts all his videos. He does on YouTube, so he filmed the night. So it's worth the watch. As I'm glad you said about older spirits preferring basic methods kind of thing rather than tech, because we've been doing this for quite a while, and a lot of our experiments are basic, and it's not because we're Scottish and we don't want to part with money for tech, but I've got a strong belief. Post it here, thank you. I've got a strong belief that if you've got a £300 REM pod and you've got a 30 pence ping pong ball sitting, and you say it to a spirit who maybe for the 1600s, they're standing there looking at these two things, what they're going to go for? Yeah. They're going to go for the ball because they don't have a clue what this thing is with the lights on it. And no disrespect to people that use tech, and I know tech is a good way to kind of back up or validate what whatever evidence you might get. But I think even using something as simple as a ping pong ball tells you if a spirit's there or not. There's the link. I'll leave it up there. People can see in the comments anyway. You hit on that link, you'll be able to watch. That's a Clava one.
That's a Clava one, yeah. Mark's got lots of interesting videos on his channel from obviously his investigations around New Zealand, but when he comes over here, he stays at loads of different paranormal locations and does videos and whatnot. So really interesting guy, sound guy.
It's a travel, isn't it?
Yeah, but he loves the UK, and I think it's what we were talking before we came on. we've got the history here. You know, I mean,
Aye, that's
Neolithic. You know, you know, it's
stadium. He wants to come out here, and I'd love to do that. I'd love to go to America, investigate some places in America. You know, so
yeah.
you know, take your hat off to the guy. If he's able to do that, then always welcome in Scotland. I can't speak Scotland, but you're always welcome in Scotland. But no, I mean, do you think basic methods are better than technology? For instance,
I do now. Yeah, I was a tech guy when I started this 13 years ago. I was a big fan of ghost hunters, you know, and all the tech they were using. I would say over the last 2 to 3 years, I've become very cynical about a lot of tech. I think it's overpriced, not proven, a lot of it. The SLS cameras, I just don't. I understand why they use them on TV because, you know, they're an image. They you know, but when you look at them, it's like, well, why is it not the right size? Why is it up in the air? Why is it, you know?
I
And
always
I
seem
know,
to be above.
yeah, the TAPS guys, some of the TAPS groups in America played around with them and said that basically you can go up and move your curtains and a stick man will appear. So, you know, for me, they're just, as I said, I've not seen anything that's kind of gone, whoa, that blows my mind.
But let's face it, Spirit doesn't care whether you've got a £300 REM pod SLS camera or say a 30 pence pine pop box. Spirit doesn't care.
No.
I doubt very, very much that Spirit says, well, you know, he spent a lot of money on that and he's only spent 30 pence. So we'll go and talk to the guy that spent all the money. He's made the effort. Do you know what I mean? As I say, no disrespect to tech people, you know, they've got that, that's what they like to use, but I just like basics better. Like a ping pong ball, a compass, a bowl of water, you know, stuff like that, string the bells on it. You know, things like that.
I think tech has its place. I think tech has its place in debunking a lot of things. I think tech is important for that reason. I think it can be used to debunk a lot, find, you know, natural causes for certain things. And yeah, of course, you know, there is an audio recorder. We'll call that tech if you want. I mean, and that I yet to meet a paranormal investigator who doesn't believe that that's probably the best piece of kit they've got for actually capturing something, you know. So there is but yeah, you're 100% right, and it's, you know, it is this whole thing. What do they see? They see us, and they must be, as I said, I firmly believe they're terrified of, you know, that it would be the devil's work for some of them, what they're seeing, you know, us holding in their hands and things like that. They would have no concept, especially, you know, when we're dealing with, you know, even people from like the 1700s and 1800s and even thing, you know, you're going to have that. I mean, and as I said, in the Highlands, I mean, they were still selling charms against witchcraft in the early 1900s. So, you know.
I mean, I did say, you know, I've said a few times, like you're saying on this, that Spirit does have the capacity to learn. You know, as you know yourself, Liam, it's happened to us, it's all happened to use with cameras being switched off conveniently, you know, certain points of the night. It happened to us at Caldwell. The camera went off after about 6.5 minutes or something. And it was after that we started to get a lot of activity. So I dare say Spirit has the capacity to learn, you know, and take stuff in. But the other side of the coin is you will get spirits that are terrified that they don't know. You know, I mean, one of the answers we got in the first investigation at that location was we were talking about 3 cameras on, and we were talking about moving them. We're talking about doing something with the cameras, and it came back straight away, leave the camera on.
Right.
And we just kind of stood there and looked at each other. Did you hear it? And we have got it on EVPs. We showed it to the owners of the location, and it was more about leave the camera on, and we were just talking about moving them, or it was something to do with it. It is on the page, and we just sit there. So, Spirit, because Spirit knows what a camera is, or dare say they have got the capacity to learn if they want to, that is.
Yeah.
Other spirits are probably just happy to go along day to day, no learning, no knowing, but as you say, it'd be daunting seeing all these lights and different devices, especially up your neck of the woods.
Yeah, I think I do think it's I think it's the age of the spirit, what the time period they come from and whatnot. That's how I kind of feel about it. As I said, we certainly seem to get a lot of responses via the rods. And I know a lot of people will tell you, well, the rods, can be manipulated, or it's our subconscious that's moving them and whatnot. And I'm not for a minute going to tell you how they work, because I don't know. They just do. But I've gone into locations with rods and they haven't worked. So for me, that's a telling sign as well. That when you go to some places, they don't work. And they don't work for everybody, the rods. So some people just can't get the rods to work at all for them. But yeah, as I said, we do get a lot of communication that we can do. We can get our yes no answers via the rods.
I've watched a few people investigate with the rods. We don't use them because basically we don't know how to. So we're not going to start. It's the same as Ouija boards. We're not going to start trying to use something that we don't have a clue about, because we just make arses of ourselves, basically, But I've watched some investigations, and you can clearly tell that the person's moving. You can see their thumbs, slightly, that they're moving the rods.
Yeah.
And so I think that puts a lot. It certainly did with me. I'm not saying everybody does it, don't give it a day. There must be some credence in them. They've been out for centuries, basically. It's just when you see that kind of thing, well, are they real? Are they just bits of mail? But then I watched, totally paranormal related, I watched a program with some TV woman. She's been, I can't remember her name, but her and her husband are building their own house in the middle of nowhere, the family, and they brought in this guy because they find a water supply, and they brought in this dowsing guy, and this guy's got quite a reputation. He always finds water, and so they say to me, this is the field here. He says, so he went walkabout, and he says, right, you've got water here, and sure, they dug down and they found water. There is some thing in them. I just think some people, they manipulate them. The rods usually don't work with me. Yeah,
it's interesting because we did one the other week, and activity in room 19 at Touchwood. And when you watch the video, you would actually go, yeah, she's moving her hand. But actually, the speed the rod was moving at, she couldn't do anything back. She could not hold her hand. One rod was spinning constantly. And I've never seen anything like this, because normally when rods are passed from one person to another person, normally activity changes or stops. But in this case, it carried on. And none of us know why. It's happened twice in room 19 now, where basically the rods are spun. One rod is spun constantly. If you ask it to stop, it will stop. You can get it to start spinning the other one, but it's a lot weaker, but then it goes back. And we change people around and it carries on doing it. Can't explain it. Never seen anything quite like it, as I said. Fascinating to watch. But as I said, I'm not going to for a minute say I understand what's going on, why it's doing that, but it is. And as I said, we never really, in room 19, we got that on 2 different occasions we went in there. with the same people as well. It was really interesting. Yeah.
Well, I know the thing you're on about, Roger Swayze, even though you don't know you're doing it. But back to the TV question, I was told the one out, it was just a joke. What they were doing, and the language they were using, I mean, give you a sort of rough idea. There was one of the people were using them to say, as such and such an a-hole, as such and such an a-hole, you know, and they're doing this on a live in a cut card kind of thing, and it was just a total joke. There's another a video of Room 19.
Yeah, we can have a look at that at some point. But yeah, I mean, our rods have handles, so with regards to you're not holding on to the actual rod itself. It sits inside a handle. It is the weirdest thing. Until I used them, I was very skeptical. But I can use them now, and I believe it's energies, and whether it's our energy that charges them and powers them, I don't know. But I do my yes/no answers at the start. So, is my name Liam? Get my yes answer. Is it Christmas Day? To get my no answer or whatever, and then I take it from there. But as I said, I've seen some people's, guests at events that try to use them, and it just doesn't work for them at all.
I suppose it's like other, you say it works for some people, does it work for other people, and it's like other bits of sort of equipment as well that might work for one, but does it work for another? And that goes back to what you were saying earlier about people slagging off bits of equipment and liking them, and no everybody loves every bit of gear that there is out there. If you don't like it, don't use it. It's, it's where if you're going to slag it off, if you don't trust it or you got your doubts, if it's possible, give it a go, and then make up your mind. I always, you need to try it and see. It's the same as people. We don't try to convince people that the paranormal's real. We're not here to prove to people like ghosts really exist and we're going to prove it to you. I think that if somebody wants to find out where the paranormal is real, then go out in an investigation. We're a genuine team. Doesn't need to be a massive big team. A genuine team, and it's when that person experiences something for themselves, whether it's a touch, a smell, a sound, could be anything, and they experience that for themselves and they can't explain it. To me, that's the best way.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, my journey's very much been from complete skeptic, and it's my journey over the years and going and doing investigations that have, changed my thoughts and the things that have happened to me over the years. Nothing gives me greater pleasure on an event than having a skeptic there at the start of the night who by the end of the night is a believer. That's always fun. But you're totally right.
It's the thing that I think it was Rigger. I was saying it to you. It was so with Rigger last night. I think it was that. It's when we've all seen it. People will hear a noise and people go, "Oh God, oh my God." Oh, they'll use all different kind of words, but I don't go with that. I go with their face. It's when you're watching a video and you see somebody who is a skeptic and they're standing maybe a group at the side of a group and their face just changes because something's happened to them that nobody else knows about, and nothing in the room's changed, but that person's expression has went from kind of standing there to one up. What was that? And you can tell they're not faking it. I hope that makes sense.
Oh yeah, totally. Because you do get the other side where you get people coming along who are, so desperate that a believer, they want something's so yet again, as you say, you can tell by their face, but they're desperate for something. So anything that happens on the night is paranormal. You
Aye.
know,
So
uh,
don't
you
look,
know,
don't look for the woman that screams, "Oh my God," or something like that. Look for the person whose face changes and doesn't say a word. Because 9 times out of 10, I think if you're a skeptic and you go along to an event and something does happen, you're not going to turn around and say that it's happened. You're going to try and process it first before you say to anybody, instead of just blurting it out. So I would say look for the person that doesn't say anything, but their face changes. And that thing. Some people might say I'm talking dribble. Maybe I am. I don't know. But that's how I kind of look at it. You see the last two lines, they appear like grey. We've got the links. We can see the links up here. There's one, and I'll find the other one for you. It's definitely here somewhere. There's two. Bear with me. I will find it. I'm going to find the bugger. Aye, there it is there.
Yeah.
There's one, and there we can see them quite clearly. But aye, that's why obviously look for that person, because you can't fake it. And you need to be that. I mean, I'm still skeptic. I believe that there is something after here, obviously. Yeah. But you need to have that bit of skepticism in you. You know, you can't just go declaring to the world's paranormal.
No, I always go, 99.9% can be logically explained. Mm-hmm. But what we're interested in is that other 0.1% that's basically is, and can't be explained, and that's what we're after. But you're 100% right. You've got to stay skeptical, because if you don't, it's just mass hysteria. And it's going back to what we were talking about earlier about the fact that some groups will play up on the demonic side of things, poltergeist activity, that kind of thing, and hype it up. I see that with certain groups, and that you can see for them it is all about them. It's not about the person who's living through whatever's going on in their house.
Mm-hmm.
It's so, and it should always be the client. It should always be about the client when you're doing private work. And
exactly,
respectful, take their beliefs on, and run with it, and go through an investigation, do what you need to do, and then at the end of it, you present your evidence, in one way or another. And but yeah, you've got to be respectful, and as you said, very mindful that the seeds that you're planting in somebody's head when you're turning around and saying, yeah, you've got a demon in your house or whatever.
You've got, even you get it. We don't do home investigations. We never have. It's never something I've looked at. But if you're getting into somebody, you might get into somebody's house and you can tell right away that they're nuts. No disrespect to anybody, but you can tell right away, like, something's no right with this person. This person's. But you keep that to yourself, and you respect it, because it's as you say, it's that person's belief. They believe there's something there. So you need to take that first and say, right, they believe there's something there. First impression is there's nothing, but we'll go and do what we do, and then we'll see what happens. And you might turn up nothing, but then you might surprise yourself, and maybe the person was right all along.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Been there. I mean, I've got a couple of things when I go into somebody's home. I look for their. It's not as easy now because everybody streams everything now. But I used to always look for their DVD collection to see what sort of films they watched or TV shows they watched. And if they've got like Ghost Adventures or something like that, I think the warning bells are ringing straight away. But yeah, you're right. You can't go in. And I've learned that you can't go in with this preconceived thoughts that, there's nothing here. And I have found that, because I've often said that about even doing public stuff, that some of the locations we've gone to that are reportedly haunted hotspots are very quiet and don't turn up anything. I've gone to other locations where I got, you know what, we're never going to find anything here, and we have. So I definitely open mind into every single place where you can go.
You have to keep an open mind, and you have to try and debunk as much as possible, and you have to be skeptical, to really get anywhere. I mean, Craig and I, we went to Loudon Cup last night late on, and we were doing the back at the Dempster family plot. Now, it was only Craig and me and this Kurt cap, we know for a fact, and it was about 11 o'clock at night, whatever, and we heard this. Well, I described it as a kind of metallic tap. Craig described it as a scraping sound, but everybody hears. But we definitely heard this sound, and it didn't. There's wildlife there, and there's houses nearby, but this sound didn't fit in.
Right.
With where we were, if that makes sense.
Yep.
And so we did. We went hunting. We had a look about the trees, the bushes, everywhere to see if and we could find nothing that could have made this sound. We're not saying it was paranormal, we're just saying we couldn't find anything, and that's the noise didn't fit in. But I was looking back today because I've done it as a live, and we never caught it on the camera. The microphone didn't pick it up. I was like, yeah. So we're just, we just got to scrub that one.
Yeah.
Because, we didn't catch it on camera, so but we two know that we heard it.
Yeah.
And then that goes back to, a personal experience. You've heard something or felt something, but there's no evidence there to show what it was or that it was ever there. But it's what we do, isn't it, buddy? It's what we do. But I'm going to wind up. I'd like to bring you back to part two, because we've hardly spoke about where you've been and stuff like that.
No.
I've just noticed the time. It's over an hour and a half we've been running, but we will get back on. So what's next up for Highland? I nearly said that again. I nearly said Inverness Paranormal again.
Our next up, we're publicly we're at Late Hay up in Dunleith in Caithness on the 19th and 20th of May. But we've got some private stuff before that. And we've also then got, just after that, we've got a group called Friends of Highland Paranormal, which is for the guys who follow us all the time, come to our open meets and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So we're doing a investigation, especially for them, at a location close to Inverness. So really looking forward to that as well.
That's what you're saying, is close to. We might actually be coming up your way on Sunday. We're talking about a really road trip, but we're gauging. What's the weather like in Inverness now, actually?
It's absolute. Today it's been absolutely gorgeous. It's actually at 14 degrees. It's been sun shining. Yeah.
We're out with Spike on Saturday night, but we're looking to, it says there, maybe a wee road trip, and there's that, where'd you want to go? I said, kick up Inverness, up Loch Ness and what have you. So he's meant to be peeing down with rain. So we'll see, come Sunday morning, we'll check the weather. So if it's nice, might be scooting up the side of Loch Ness and stuff. We've not done one of them for a while. So that's next in line for yourselves then?
That's next up for us. And then lots of different things over the summer.
Scottish tropical weather.
Yeah.
Well, the shorts. We went to Loudon last night, and it was usually you go to Loudon, the grass is soaking, but for some reason it's always bloody wet. But even the wee car park bit's always like thick mud, But last night it was bone dry. It was really like kind of clammy, but no unpleasant, just warm. And it's the same. You could have had the shorts on. No apologies, but they're going back on tomorrow if the sun's shining. You know what I mean? So it's like Scottish heat wave here.
Yeah, you got to take it when you can get it.
Oh, you do? Well, we're meant to be going away camping this weekend. We're going to do the whole weekend, but the price kind of rocketed because of what's happening on Saturday, you know.
Yeah.
So I thought, no, I saw that, no paying that. So that's why we might be doing a wee road trip on Sunday. Hope to find out where there's but I'll keep you a wee couple of a wee side or two after we come off. That's it for tonight, folks. Give Highland Paranormal a look up on their Facebook and everywhere else. Definitely, they're a busy team and a genuine team, and the countryside up there is absolutely beautiful. I mean, absolutely stunning. And so a big thanks to Liam in regards to Oz, his team, and we will be back. No, that's until next week. But we're out with Spig on Saturday night. Scottish Paranormal. We're going back to a location we've done before. Or something happened, and we want to see if we can catch it on camera this time. So who knows? We'll wait and see. But big thanks to Liam and everybody for coming out to the chat and your comments. All much appreciated. And we'll see you soon. So take care for now. Bye. Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.